Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture number 3 of our course Introduction to Linear Programming, Manual Methods and Basic Software Tools. So in the previous classes we have already seen what is linear programming, its applications, basic requirement, everything, and then what are the major assumptions of linear programming problems. Now moving to formulation of linear programming problems. So formulation means a real world problem when we are getting that how we can convert it into a form of linear programming problems. So basically we are converting it into a mathematical programming model format, so which can be used for solving this problem as a linear programming problem. So it involves developing a mathematical model of the problem at hand, whatever scenario that we are trying to solve or trying to find the optimal solution, that will be trying to develop a mathematical model of that to solve as a linear programming problem. So it involves basically specification of the goal of the problem and the constraints in algebraic terms. So what is the goal, what we have to attain, whether we have to maximize our profit or whether we have to minimize our cost, whether we have to minimize the wastages, whatever it is, what is our goal, that will be specified, and also the decision environment, what are the constraints, because that goal would have to be attained in presence of certain constraints. So what are the various constraints we have. So these two basic things we will be expressing in algebraic terms. So this is what formulation we are going to do. So it is the most important and the most difficult aspect of solving a real problem, because any times errors can come. Maybe we may miss a decision variable, or we may miss certain constraints, or some coefficients we may wrongly pick. So any such errors, if it happens, it will not represent the actual problem scenario in the ground level. So whatever solution optimal solution we are getting for that particular solution that we formulated, that will not be the optimal solution for the actual problem in the ground level. So the optimal solution that we obtained will not be of any use. So this is one of the most important one is the most important aspect of linear programming problem, how well we can formulate that particular linear programming problem. So the basic steps in problem formulation are: first we will be identifying and defining the decision variables for the problem, then we will define the objective function, then we will identify and express mathematically all of the relevant constraints, then we will be introducing the non-negative restrictions. So these are the basic steps of formulation of a linear programming problem. Now we can pick this particular problem, and with the help of this we will be showing how we can formulate this real world problem as a linear programming problem, which comprises your decision variable, your objective function, and the constraints including the non-negativity restriction. So the problem given is: a firm is engaged in producing two products A and B. Each unit of product A requires 2 kg of raw material and 4 labor hours for processing, whereas each unit of product B requires 3 kg of raw material and 3 hours of labor of the same type. Every week the firm has an availability of 60 kg of raw material and 96 labor hours. 1 unit of product A sold yields rupees 40 and 1 unit of product B sold gives rupees 35 as profit. Formulate this problem as a linear programming problem to determine as to how many units of each of the products should be produced per week so that the firm can earn the maximum profit. Assume that there is no marketing constraint so that all that is produced can be sold. So this is the problem given to us. So in this scenario, a particular firm is there which is producing two products A and B, and this particular firm want to maximize their profit by determining how many units of the number of units of product A and product B to be produced. Other informations also are given. In order to produce these particular products, they will be requiring raw materials and labor hours. Each unit of product A will be requiring 2 kg of raw material and 4 labor hours. Similarly, each unit of product B will be requiring 3 kg of raw material and 3 hours of labor. And the availability limitation is also given. Only 60 kg of raw material is available and only 96 labor hours is available. Within this constraint, we have to optimize, we have to maximize our profit. And the profit contribution is also given. Each unit of product A sold yields rupees 40 as profit, and each unit of B will be giving rupees 35 as profit. So, these are the basic information given to us. So, we know when we are formulating, ultimately 3 basic components will be coming in that particular linear programming problem. One is the decision variables which we seek to determine, and another one the objective or goal that we need to optimize. It may be either maximize or minimize, and the third the constraints that the solution must satisfy. So, the optimization should be happening in presence of those constraints. So, for the given problem, first we need to determine or ultimately we have to determine the number of units of products A and products B to be produced. So, this is the thing that we have to determine, how many number of units of product A to be produced or how many number of units of product B to be produced. It means these are the decision variables, because on these we have to take decision. This many number of units of product A to be produced, this many number of units of product B to be produced. So, this number of units of product A and number of units of product B are our decision variables. So, we can define them in such a way that let x1 be the number of units of product A and per week, and let x2 be the number of units of product B produced per week. So, in this way we can define our decision variables. So, we have introduced x1 and x2 as the number of units of product A and number of units of product B to be produced in a week. So, these are our decision variables. On this we are going to take decision. Decision variable have been identified. Now, the second step, we have to construct the objective function. So, we have to identify what is the goal of this particular scenario. So, we are trying to maximize our profit by producing these two products A and B in the most optimal manner. And another information is also given that each unit of product A sold will be giving us a profit of rupees 40, and each unit of product B sold will be giving us a profit of rupees 35. So, with these informations we can make the equation for total profit. So, x1 is the number of units of product A and x2 is the number of units of product B, 40 is the profit per unit of product A and 35 is the profit per unit of product B. The total profit contribution of that particular product A, we can get it as 40 into number of the profit per unit of product A multiplied by number of units of product A we are going to produce. So, it means 40 into x1, that will be giving the total profit contribution that we will be getting from the product A. Similarly, the profit contribution from the product B will be the profit per unit is 35 multiplied by the number of units of product B that we are going to produce. So, it will be 35 x2. The summation when we are taking, that will be giving us the total profit, as we are assuming that it will be satisfying our proportionality, additivity, all assumptions. So, the total profit can be calculated as 40 x1 plus 35 x2. The direction of the objective function. So, this is the objective, this is the profit function. So, we have to maximize our profit. It means the direction of the objective function is to maximize. So, the objective function I can write it as maximize z is equal to 40 x1 plus 35 x2. So, this is how I can express the objective function. So, the function is there and the direction is also there. So, by looking into that I can understand the objective is to maximize my profit, and the profit function is given as 40 x1 plus 35 x2. Now, we have identified the decision variables, and we also identified or constructed the objective function. Now, moving to the third thing, constraints. So, we are going to construct or we are going to identify the constraints. So, in the problem we had seen there are two types of constraints are there. In the given problem scenario, mainly two types of constraints are there. There is a constraint regarding the raw material availability, and also there is a constraint regarding the labor hours availability. They have mentioned only a particular number of units of raw material is only available and a particular number of units of labor hours only is available. So, these are our constraints, our total resource use, either it is the raw material or our labor hours, that should be strictly within this particular limit, and it is not told whether I have to use it exactly that much quantity. It means there can be some unused quantities also. So, it gives me little more information that it can be either that much unit of available raw material can be utilized, or less than that I can utilize to optimize my product combination to maximize my profit. Same way for the labor hours also. So, it means I can express my constraints regarding raw material and the labor hours like this. In one side it will be the usage of raw material, it should be less than or equal to the availability of the raw material. So, these are the left hand side and right hand side. In the right hand side it is the availability, left hand side it is the usage. So, the raw material whatever total usage is there by all these particular products that I am going to produce, the total usage of the raw material should be either equal to the total availability or less than that. Same scenario for the labor hours also. Left hand side it is the usage of labor hours, right hand side it is the availability of labor hours. So, the total availability should be either equal to or less than whatever available is there. So, in this way I can construct the constraints. So, this gives me this information. The constraints are not equations, they are inequalities, and the inequality type is of less than or equal to. So, in the question it was given that for each unit of product A I will be requiring 2 units of raw material, and for each unit of product B I will be requiring 3 units of raw material. And we had defined x1 is the number of units of product A and x2 is the number of units of product B. And the total raw material availability is also given in the question, it was 60. And we had seen in the previous slide that our constraints will be of less than or equal to type. So, by combining all this information we can make this particular constraint regarding our raw material. So, total raw material availability will be 60 and the total usage will be 2x1 plus 3x2. It means 2 is the per unit usage of this particular raw material by product A, 3 is the per unit usage of the raw material by product B. So, 2 into number of units of product A plus 3 into number of units of product B, 2x1 plus 3x2 should be either equal to or less than the total availability of the raw material 60, 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 60. Same way I can make the constraint regarding the labor hours availability also. In the question it was given only 96 hours of labor is available. So, that will be coming to the right hand side of our constraint. So, labor availability is 96. Either that full 96 labor hours I can use or less than that I can use, because in the question it is not told strictly that entire unit has to be utilized, must be utilized, it is not told like that. So, I can utilize either that much or less than that, definitely not more than that, because the maximum availability of labor hours is 96, maximum availability of raw material is 60 units. So, maximum I can utilize this much only, but it is not necessary that entire units has to be utilized, either that much or less than that. That is why we use less than or equal to. So, the labor hours constraint, it will be coming the per unit labor hour requirement for product A is 4 and for the per unit labor hour requirement of product B is 3. So, the raw material the labor hour requirement I can make it as 4 into number of units of product A plus 3 into number of units of product B, means 4x1 plus 3x2, and the availability we know it is 96. I can utilize either the full 96 or less than that. So, it will be 4x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 96. So, we have constructed the constraint inequality for the labor hour availability also. So, only 2 types of constraints were present from that information given in that particular question. So, both we have constructed, and we know the decision variable from the assumptions we know already that the decision variables cannot assume any negative values. It can take either 0 value or positive values only. So, explicitly we have to express this particular non-negativity restriction in all the linear programming problems. So, our decision variables are x1 and x2. So, their values will be greater than or equal to 0. So, it can either 0 or greater than that. So, this is our non-negativity condition. So, we have made all the 3 components, the objective function, the constraints and the non-negativity restriction. So, the objective, so all together we can express that particular linear programming problem like this. So, the objective function will be maximize z is equal to 40x1 plus 35x2. So, the direction is there, function is there, maximize z is equal to 40x1 plus 35x2. This has to be achieved in presence of these constraints, that is why subject to the raw material constraint and also the labor hours constraint. Raw material constraint is 2x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 60, and labor hour constraint is 4x1 plus 3x2 less than or equal to 96, and our non-negativity restriction x1 comma x2 greater than or equal to 0, because they cannot take any negative value, they can take either 0 value or positive values only. So, this is how we will be formulating a linear programming problem. So, you can see this was the problem given to us. So, this lengthy problem we have made it into these three basic components: objective function, constraints, objective function and constraints, and the decision variables we have identified. So, all these components are here. So, now we have formulated the linear programming problem. Now, we can easily solve this particular linear programming problem. So, the formulation of different types of linear programming problem we will be showing, so that you can practice whichever will be applicable in your particular domain of interest. So, that we will be seeing in the upcoming classes. So, today we are winding up with this particular problem formulation. So, we have seen a particular problem regarding particular product combination, which particular combination of product has to be produced, so that we can maximize the profit, a real world problem, that how to formulate that with all these components, decision variable, objective function, constraints, how we can construct each of these, that we have seen. I hope you understood this, and we will be seeing further problems in the upcoming classes. Thank you all.